Should Mac Jones start week 1?
No, he shouldn't. Cam Newton should be the starter in week 1. Why? Because he has the experience. He's going into his second year in this offense, and we all know that it's difficult to learn a new offense after you go to a new team. We heard it with Tom Brady last year. He said, man, it took me about 8 weeks before I got to understand this new offense. And so year 2, Cam Newton will be better than what we saw in year 1. We all obviously know about the injuries that Cam had in year 1. We know about the time missed because of COVID in year 1. But what we also know is that the Patriots went out and got some weapons on offense. Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry, they got some weapons on defense as well. And so we know that Cam has not only the ability to take this team far, but also he's got the weapons, number 2. And then lastly, I just look at the roster. I look at like where Cam is at right now and how he's competed in this competition. He has consistently shown that he's ready to be the starting quarterback. Even though Mac Jones is knocking on the door, Cam has consistently stepped up to the table. And so that's why I think he should be the starting quarterback.
Kimberley?
Yeah, this is an interesting one for me, man. Because look, I mean, there's obviously information that Bill and Josh McDaniels, offensive coordinator, has that we just don't have. Look, we're relying on Bill's snippets and press conferences and Mike Reese giving us great reporting as he always does. Nobody's dialed into the Patriots more than him to kind of like frame our opinions here about who should be starting here. And look, I haven't talked to Cam a couple times last year in production meetings, and the Patriots coaching staffs themselves saying, look, Cam will be much better in year 2 than year 1 because of the way that his inclusion on the football team last year came about, how he came in the process late, then he got sick. Much of the team was, up and down, and then he got injured. I mean, there's just a number of different things that led to him having a subpar year last year, and he's showing that now when it's set up the right way, he is someone who can still play the game at a high level. That being said, look, Bill is one of those people who, as he also alluded to in that press conference, every year you have to reestablish yourself in his mind. He's not one of those people who believes in a lot of the talk that you constantly hear people saying about, well, a team finished strong last year, they're just going to carry that right on into the next year, always using last year or the previous year as a kind of a way to predict what's going to happen in the coming year. Bill doesn't believe that. Every year is a clean slate for him. And right now, based off of what you are hearing about Mac Jones, Mac is doing all the things in this setting that he did during his career at Alabama, which is play smart football, make quick decisions, throw the football accurately, and continue to, exceed people's expectations of him, especially when it comes to being able to put points on the board for his football team, which is what he seems to be doing in controlled situations in practice, in situations in preseason games. And if that's the case, and he is excelling in situational football, which is Bill's number 1 criteria, regardless of the position that you play, can you excel in situational football when it means the most and it matters the most, then you will play for me. I don't care what you have done in the past. If you are doing it currently, and I believe you can do it consistently, you will play for me. I've lived through it. And if Mac is doing that, Mac's going to start, regardless of how we feel about Cam or otherwise. And that's what the NFL really is supposed to be about. And that's what makes this so fascinating and, quite honestly, maybe the most interesting quarterback battle of this entire training camp.
Yeah, listen, I understand this is Mac's team. We get it. Even Cam knows he's on borrowed time, right? But to me, the real issue is once you hit that button and say, I'm going to go with the rookie QB, you can't go backwards. Because what did we see with the Dolphins last year? We saw Flores have Tua, then went back to Fitzpatrick, and it worked out in a sense on the field, but he was questioned and he was criticized for that decision. And now heading into this year, everybody's sort of like, well, is Tua really the guy? Like, how long is Tua going to be the guy in Miami? Like, that's what we want to see, the confidence that coaches have in these rookie QBs. I think right now, Cam, Lewis said it. Everybody expects Cam to be better in year 2, right? Preseason work, all this stuff, no COVID. Let's hope, knock on wood. So to me, you just start with the veteran, because at least if the veteran does not do what the veteran is supposed to do, you know you have a kid who's been on the bench, watching, learning, seeing what not to do, what I should do, so that when he gets that moment, and listen, right now it's preseason. We're seeing a lot of vanilla stuff right now. I think Mac has been very good to this point. But when I see him for real in a regular season game, I'll have the confidence to know, like, yeah, he's watched a little bit and he's ready to roll.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue and the bigger point is this, and Lewis made a phenomenal point. He made the phenomenal point of every year under Bill Belichick, you have to reestablish yourself. Nothing is given, nothing is given away, nothing is gift wrapped to a player or even a coach for that matter. And what Cam Newton has done this preseason was to go and earn that job. We all thought that this was Mac's job. Remember the week 1 preseason game? Mac looked phenomenal. Some of those throws he was making, we thought, wow, Mac might really have this job. And then Cam kept on performing and performing and performing. You know what Bill Belichick sees when he sees that? He says, oh, wow, like this is a quarterback competition, but Cam is stepping up to the level that he needs to be at. And so, yes, Mac Jones looks good, but Cam Newton at this point has consistently looked, I'm not going to say better, because some people are saying, well, Mac Jones is making all these great passes in practice and in the preseason, but Cam Newton has shown what he needs to show when it comes to competing and earning that starting spot. Nothing is given with Bill Belichick. Everything is earned, and Cam Newton has earned that starting spot so far.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.